Yeah, I don't know if I agree with him. I think we're pretty consistent with our starts. Some of it's just experience. I also don't think that we're a heavy match team, that's a critical piece. That you have a huge advantage at home. There's probably 3 or 4 teams in the National League that they're built differently. So they run a heavy match at home. You see them with a very strong home record. It's the consistency of the game will drive that for you.
Left side, fourth row.
Paul, over here. I asked Nico Mikkola in the locker room when the series becomes a best of 3 how he personally deals with pressure, and he mentioned just trusting your guys, trusting your teammates. As a coach, how do you see that manifest? How do you pick up on that with your players?
So if you did it on a percentage of what you thought would happen next on the ice, that's where trust is built. So if there's one guy either with the puck or there's one guy driving on the puck, if you have a pretty good idea what's going to happen next, then you will trust what's going to happen next. You've seen it enough times, and that'll make you faster. So replication of predictability is the foundation of the on-ice trust. If you show a video clip and you pause it and you say, what's going to happen next? You hope that all your guys in the room have a pretty good idea what's going to happen next. And then there's the aberration of the game, the things that don't go the way that you expected them to go in a play, and how you counter off that.
Right side, third row.
Paul, recognizing we obviously have 2 elite teams contesting this thing, but you guys had gone years without blowing a lead in the playoffs after the intermission. Now that it's happened a couple times, do you address it, or how do you kind of go about that mentally with your team?
We want to keep learning as we go here. And you never get to that point. Like I've said before, nothing's permanent. So you never get to that point that you'll not have an opportunity to learn something. So we've had a 2-goal lead and a 3-goal lead. This is such a high volume series. I felt we came off it a bit clearly in the second. I thought, but not for great stretches of time, and still didn't create a perceptible zone time imbalance for it. So we'll learn. There's a couple things I think we can do better in that second period that we did very well in the first, and actually kind of got back to it in the third. So we just talk about it and go through it.
Left side, third row.
Hello, Paul. Kind of playing off that, there's a pretty large disparity between the amount of time that you guys have had played with the lead in the series and the amount of time they've played with the lead in the series. And I was wondering, in a 2-2 series, when as a coach, when you look at that disparity, what does that tell you, or what can you use from that going forward?
If you can figure out the why of it, then you would want to replicate the why, and that would be the pieces that we think we can do, and be maybe more consistent with that. When you go back and everybody does the game differently, I'll run chances for and against, and after each game I thought, well, that could have been a pretty well played 14-13 game, which I haven't said very often in the playoffs ever. So, but it was akin to last year. I think last year the even strikes generation was quite a bit higher against us by our team. The numbers were more skewed. The numbers are considerably more even this year. But that doesn't, pick a chance. McDavid in alone or Sam Bennett one-timer. Well, that's 2 goals or 0 goals, which is what it turned out to be. But 14-13 might be you could say that might be just.
Take one more question, front right.
Hi, Paul. I don't know how much attention it got at the time, but you had 5 guys used on your 4th line last year, and you lost them all. It seemed like you took some time to find the right combination to provide that same thing. How important was that, getting that kind of, especially for the limited minutes, to be the effective in that?
Well, I think there's a 3-year generation to what happened there. We got to Game 5 in Vegas, and my 5th line was part of my 3rd line, and I had one guy on the 1st line. We got deep into our team and through injuries that year. And then last year, it was just a bit like Kevin Stenlund stayed the entire time, and he was the permanent piece, but we brought Kyle Okposo in, and we had players, Steve Lorenz and Nick Cousins. Nick Cousins scored the overtime winner in Game 6 Toronto the year before. So we did have players in and out. This year, We've used all 3 of our 5th line, just on shorter duration. They haven't come in and stayed in. But as I had said before, what happened to our team is that in the 4 or 5 weeks preceding the playoffs, that line as a line, as it's set now, were really impactful. And when they came back in, we're down 0-2 to Toronto. And for me, that was the difference. That's when that series changed. So we'd be very comfortable moving any one of we're healthy through 15 bodies. So you just be grateful for that, because we certainly did not have that 2 years ago.
Thank you for your
Okay,
time,
guys.
Coach.